broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Back on top of the world. Hey guys, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV's After Show for Total Divas. We are here talking Season 3, Episode 18, Model Behavior. We are rearing towards the end of the season, sadly to say. I am Kaori Takee, and with me I've got George Hermoza.
Filling in.
Thanks for coming over. Next to him, we've got...
I'm so glad to have you. Hey, everybody. I'm Christy Olson.
That's right. So here we are talking some stuff. Overall thoughts of this episode, guys?
It was enjoyable. A couple parts where I thought it was like cringing a little bit.
That's a total diva show.
But then that's every week again. Every single week it's like that.
Well, you guys know I like the really juicy episodes with all the really dramatic good stuff.
Did you feel like this was...
It felt a teeny bit flat for me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I felt like some of the storylines weren't as intense as other ones, but overall it did, still interesting. And in the meantime, guys, continue to hashtag ABTV Divas. Yeah. Send us comments, questions, comments on...
Let us know what you
Christy
think.
dancing.
The fact that I can't stay in my chair for some reason.
Keep it going. And you can follow me, KAORIOUS, at Kaorius. And then George G. Hermoza.
G. Hermoza.
That's right. And then
like that.
Christy
and
Reports.
Hit me up at Christy Report.
Wait, hold on. I may need to write that. Christy Reports.
Very official.
All along the way. All right, guys. So
look me up, baby.
Let's
Of course, she tagged us both already, so it should be easy to click.
She's on it. Kaori.
I try. What? There you go.
Yay.
All right, guys.
Everybody follow suit.
Hashtag ABTV Divas. Don't worry, we didn't add the total there because we know you need those characters to keep things rocking. Okay, so let's first talk about Paige. Let's talk about Paige and her urge to keep reiterating that it is her body and she can do whatever she wants to her 22-year-old body. Aww. And even though her dad objects, even though WWE objects, even though the divas think it's a really bad idea, Paige really wants to get a massive tattoo.
Do you have a tattoo?
I do have a tattoo.
Do you have a tattoo?
I do.
I mean, what was
What do you have a tattoo?
We won't talk about that. I don't. But what was the process of going on? Maybe do you only have one?
No.
I only have one. And I've wanted more, but I've changed my mind and I'm okay with just one.
Okay, so what's the process like of getting your first tattoo? Was it something you had to think about a lot, or was it just like a last-minute decision?
I think
let's just say my lower back would be a lot better off had Natty been there.
I would say that,
and there wasn't much thought process at all.
See, I'm the other way around, where I thought about it a lot, and I would have kept thinking about it, but then I was last minute convinced to do it.
I guess the main thing is that with her body of work, quote unquote body of work,
no pun intended,
a lot of the places that she wanted to tattoo was something that would drastic her figure, her look entirely. Because I mean, here's a girl who has been in the company for about a year, so she has a lot of action figures, the T-shirts, the posters. So now if she alters her image, it's now we got to make new action figures and kind of completely, takes away from the old ones.
Yeah.
So it's not just a look decision; it's a money decision as well.
Right.
So I kind of see where they're coming from. Kind of see where she's coming from too. What do you guys think?
I didn't feel that she wanted it that bad.
I
like
did.
She kind of just sounded like a teenage girl. Like, well, you're telling me I can't do it, so I want to do it.
Yeah.
And usually Paige is super mature, and I love her. She's so funny. But this kind of whole thing sort of came off as like, all right, simmer down. You're a career lady now. It's about the career.
Yeah, I felt like she was exaggerating a little bit for the sake of reality TV and giving it that oomph. But it was she was talking about the left arm the whole entire time, and then she got the prototype on her chest. And I didn't like it where it was at all. I didn't find it attractive.
Some girls can pull it off, but I don't think she'd be one of them.
No, and again, it would change her whole thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a big concern for WWE creative because they don't want to have to revamp everything. And she's doing so well right now. How would that affect? And plus, she has kids watching her, and a lot of adults still wouldn't feel comfortable with their kids watching a superstar doing that.
Well, yeah, and she's kind of pulling off the anti-diva thing the way it is. She's got the dark hair and the eyeliner, and she's very pale. Like, she doesn't need the tattoos, too. Like, we get it. We get what she's trying to do. You know, who she is.
I think a lot of it's first impressions, too, because we're used to not seeing her like that. Like, I hate to bring up a sore subject with some people, but... are you okay?
Sorry, yeah, go on.
You see the girl that... you know, quote unquote, Seth Rollins might have been, you know.
Okay.
You see that girl?
We all saw that girl.
She's all tatted up.
But she's hot.
Yeah, she's hot. But I think a lot of it's because that's the first time we ever saw her, as opposed to Paige. I think if she would have gotten it pre WWE, I think it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
But I think now that they've invested a lot of time in her and everything else, it's kind of like, oh, we don't really want to see her because we've grown to love that Paige, the one that we like to see. She's my favorite diva. And I really don't want to see her kind of, at least not right now.
Yeah.
I think she's still young.
You don't want to see her at the tanning bed topless, like, hey, Seth Rollins.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
I do want to see her in a tanning bed topless. But as far as, like, you know, altering her image, I mean, maybe not right now. Because even, like, with Lita, like, that was, like, the first image we saw of her. It's, like, with the tattoo and whatnot. So it's kind of like, well, that's who we see, but again.
I mean, I don't think Paige needs a tattoo to show, like you were saying, that she is an anti-diva or she's different or unique, because she just walks in there with the presence of her own. And I liked the dad conversation. I liked hearing her dad.
That was so funny.
It was so funny. I really enjoyed it. I could not understand half of what he was saying. Like, thank goodness for these subtitles.
Right, the accent, the words he was using, and just the fact that he was like, telling her how it was.
Yeah.
You know, everyone likes to see someone's dad kind of put him in their place. Of course, that's a good little moment for reality TV.
And she still said, I'm still getting my tattoo. It's my body. I'm going to do what I want. Is pretty much what she said. So you have Alicia and Rosa, the threesome, going out, and then they need an intervention, so they get Mama Diva to attempt an intervention.
Very smart.
Yeah, I think it was a smart idea.
It kind of shows how much that Natty's respected, because her boss said no, but she still did it, or she wanted to do it. The dad said no, so you got to think, the boss, the dad, her best friends, but Natty, it's like she respects Natty that much, where that was kind of, I don't want to say that was the ultimate decision, but it definitely helped in her not getting the tattoo.
Do you think that Natty had a very valid point by saying your career is doing so well, so you're basically going to have to make a choice between your career and getting this tattoo?
I think it was more because they flipped it where everybody was saying no, 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 no. Natty was just kind of like, you can do it, but no, you know, like, what's more important to you?
She approached it perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and even walking in and not being all shocked. That's part of getting a tattoo, especially as a young girl when you're being told no, is like you're trying to shock people.
Even that Natty was like,
she walks in and sees that, and she's like, oh,
I like
that
it.
looks cool. yeah. She kind of set her stance with Paige. It's like, I'm not here to tell you that this is going to look awful and you're ruining your life. I'm just here to tell you, weigh your options.
For someone who always ends up with the most awkward storylines, aka Natty, being in a secondary storyline, being secondary in a storyline, she actually came off very intelligent.
It suits her.
It did suit her. It was kind of refreshing to see her being the voice of reason and in this aspect. And at the end of the day, Paige ends up getting a little compromised by getting little tattoos on her thumbs, which I thought was cute. I thought that was clever.
Well, I don't know if the fans hate when I point out this reality TV production stuff and it kind of ruins it for them, or if it's okay. But now the other girls were headed to TV, to one of their TV appearances. So Paige was supposed to be at TV, but she was also going to be at the tattoo parlor for 6 more hours. That would have taken at least 6 to 8 hours.
It probably wouldn't even have finished day one.
Right, and when she showed her thumbs, they weren't red. She hadn't gotten those that day either. This was all kind of reeked of a huge setup.
Don't even get me started.
But
Don't even get me
that
started.
ruins it a little bit, so maybe we should pretend
Hey,
like that's
look,
not
we
the
can
case.
dream when we watch Total Divas, okay?
I watch Total Divas a lot, and then when they cut to the crowd, I'm like, that's the crowd at WrestleMania. That looks way too big of a crowd, of an attendance for it to be Monday Night Raw.
And when you can see the people in the front not making any noise, and then they cut to like,
Yeah, they
So yeah, I'm with you. I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble out there, folks.
I think everyone knows it's reality TV, and reality TV is essentially scripted.
At the same time, though, I don't know about maybe you're different because you actually watch wrestling, but we're actually not really the target audience. I think it's kind of they're trying to get the non-wrestling fan, but that watches reality show, so they don't know better.
That's true.
You know,
all those Kardashian fans.
Yeah.
I think I mean, I would like to think that reality viewers do know that it's not 100% real.
But the things that we nitpick at,
yeah,
I think that as a wrestling fan we nitpick it, but a non-wrestling fan, they won't even know the difference.
Yeah,
right.
So I think that's
so they get to enjoy it more, you lucky ducks. All right, so let's talk about Natty's main storyline, because her and TJ are back together. They've rekindled their romance.
Yeah,
and it was
so
really
good
sweet.
to see.
She initially takes him out to dinner to thank him for all his help, and I was kind of worried that when she basically said we and he said we and that he was gonna shut her down, but it worked out. But TJ wants a backup plan, and it's modeling. By the way, guys, in my opinion, I think that's a kind of weird backup plan, because modeling is short-lived career.
Right.
So he's already had his prime. So.
I mean, very, very few models actually go into like their 30s or the 40s.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, very, very few.
Right.
So to do that as a backup plan, yeah, I agree with you. Where
it's not something he can do when his WWE career is over. It'll be too
Exactly.
late then. And why the heck does he need a backup plan anyway? He's doing better than he's ever done before in WWE, and making more appearances and doing this tag team stuff with Cesaro.
All this stems because they apparently are calling Natty's husband.
Right.
And he is not happy about that. I actually don't really notice him that chant going around when I watch wrestling. Do you guys?
hear it? Yeah.
Okay.
you hear something, sometimes you can't make it out that good, but sometimes it's clearer than other times. But Natty's husband is very chanted at him a lot.
Yeah, that must suck. But, you know, she does have a gigantic legacy behind her, and he just made his comeback. And now with Total Divas, in addition to that, obviously she has a huge following. I'm not saying that she's bigger than he is, but she's more prominent recent times.
And that's the storyline that they're pushing on Raw and SmackDown too, is that he's this Natty's husband thing, and that she has to come out too, and it's the Total Diva storyline and the WWE storyline.
That's how they do it. That's how they do.
Do you think TJ?
Synergy.
Do you think he looks like Matt Damon?
No.
No, I think he looks way better than Matt Damon.
Oh,
really?
My reaction to that was like, oh, you're way cuter than Matt Damon.
He's actually a good-looking guy,
Yeah.
and his body's very nice too, I have to say. But Natty sets up, and by the way, how easy was it for her to set up a meeting and a photo shoot?
And that guy's a big deal too.
Really?
David Todd, yeah.
I get it that they're already celebrities and, you know, they're important people, but I felt like it was just too easy. It was handed to them. Oh, you want to do modeling? Okay, we'll get you with this awesome photographer. We'll get you some 2 hot babes.
Right.
It just was kind of just pushed so easy, and
Really? I thought that was difficult. It was easier for me last week. I just walked in the supermarket and they just dragged me into a room.
it's like
With 2 models and a camera.
if it was only that easy, you know. But Natty, essentially watching TJ have a photo shoot with 2 hot chicks made her a little uncomfortable. What do you guys think of this?
Well, she was surprisingly cool with it while the photo shoot was going down.
Yeah.
She was kind of fine, and I kept waiting for it to come out because, you know, Natty's not going to be cool with that.
She was holding it in, though.
She was, but she was acting. I mean, I was surprised. I was like kind of giving it to her because I thought, if that was me in that same situation,
how
it
would
be
you feel?
difficult. I think it's always best to just not be there. We've seen this kind of scenario on reality shows before, and if there's a photo shoot going down and there's somebody of the opposite sex there, you know they're working, and you just shouldn't be there.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Not that my husband's doing a lot of shirtless modeling with
I don't know. He did
chicks.
He didn't just walk into a room and no.
Not lately.
Okay.
So wouldn't you rather know what's going on than to not know? Just so you can have that closure?
I guess you would, right? I would rather not know.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
Really?
I don't know. It depends on the situation. I can't, because if everything I notice is anything I plan out, it's not going to go as planned. So I just got to go with it.
Well, what surprised me that was then she got upset while looking at the photos.
Yeah.
Days later, the finished product. And then she saw that someone was pressing their boob up against her man. And then she had a problem with it.
And then she pretty much was able to save herself from confronting him, because they basically told TJ, you are not really fit for this kind of fashion modeling, but more for fitness. Okay, duh.
Right.
But anyway, I mean, looking at his resume, I would have noticed that off the bat. But at the end, TJ says he didn't feel comfortable.
He comes across as very shy as well. Even in previous episode, he comes across as very shy.
Do you buy it? I want to ask you, George, that he was
do.
like, oh, I don't like this girl's tits on my back.
Well, that I don't. But,
And he was working it pretty good. I mean, he didn't seem shy.
I mean, I think he felt uncomfortable. He kind of liked it. But I think he still kind of felt uncomfortable because, you know, she's right there or...
Yeah, I get that. If your wife was right there and there's two chicks rubbing up on you, it'd be kind of
Especially because
right?
it's the first time. You know, it's one thing if it's part of your job to kind of do that. So it's going to go, oh, it's nothing, but it's the first time. So she doesn't know how he's going to react. He doesn't know how she's going to react. So I think a little bit uncomfortable. Again, I think he liked it, but... You know, doesn't eliminate the uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they do photo shoots for WWE, but that's usually just the one of them standing there by themselves in some kind of a cheesy pose. Yeah. You know, there wouldn't be other superstars and divas involved usually.
Right. Yeah. And I like the end of this storyline. How Natty and TJ, you see them kind of a full circle. They're back together again, being loving,
cuddling it up.
Yeah. And I hope this lasts. I hope that you know that. There's no. I mean, it seems like it on Instagram and Twitter. They're all together again.
Them
Even on
being
TV?
in love and being totally cool is way more viable than them not getting along. Like the storyline when I see them loving and being all married coupley, that comes across as real to me. Whereas when they kept trying to like push this, oh, we're separated and we didn't really know what was going on, like. This is way more viable in my book.
I agree.
They really love each other.
They do. And you know who else loves each other? Ariana and Vinny. They love each other so much that they want their families to meet each other.
Can I tell you, I used to hate Vinny.
Oh, really?
I
used to hate him, like in the first...
Babe, I love him now.
Babe. Oh, just got back from the gym, babe. But as season went on, I'm like, dude, I really like Vinny. I kind of feel bad for him. Because I don't like Ariane. She comes across as very annoying. I mean,
a lot of people think that.
I don't even like it. I only like it when she says chingle chingle.
That a lot in here.
He's told me that every time. Like,
Sometimes when she says girl bye, because I think that's kind of funny. But when she says chingle chingle, I think that's funny. But overall, yeah, I've grown to really like Vinny. He seems like a really, really good guy. That really, really loves her. So I kind of feel bad for her because he's a really good guy. Not that she's not a good girl, but yeah, he seems very patient.
I mean, I guess they complement each other. I mean, different strokes for different folks, right? But Ariana is putting so much attention on the physical attributes of her father and wanting him to look right to the point where she's willing to get him a new set of teeth, a new suit. So she's totally freaking out about and worried that she's going to get embarrassed by her family. What do you guys think of all of this?
I didn't think he seemed that... It is normal, but he didn't seem that embarrassing to me. Even, you know, she was talking about how he's lost his teeth from his crack addiction, and you can't even see that, really, the way that he looks. You couldn't tell. You didn't see him and be like, oh, look at that toothless man. Plus, he was so nice and normal. I mean, the way she set it up, I was expecting, like, a lot of crazy, like, oh, hey, you know, or just, like, running around the house being crazy or something. And he was so nice and normal and sweet and just like a regular old dad, and it made me feel kind of even worse for her that she thought it was so bad.
I know, like, it was like, why you gotta be like that? Bad. And well, you said you think it's normal. Have you had this?
Unfortunately, not. I don't really come from a big family, but everywhere I see, everywhere, you know, other reality shows that I don't watch, or even like other movies, even like Friends, they're always kind of careful about their, or not careful, but just nervous about their family. Like I hear it all. Some of my best friends like, dude, my parents are crazy. So I kind of see where they're coming from. I think it's normal for the most part, but I think she did overblow it a lot. Like when we actually saw the dad, it was like, really? This isn't even that big of a deal. Like, it seemed normal. Like
Go
soft-spoken.
ahead.
I suppose it had a lot to do too with that the families are very different. Like I'm just thinking about applying this to myself and
very different.
My husband's family and my family are from the same town and they're the same kind of people and they would seem very normal to each other. Whereas in this case, we see Vinny has this Armenian family.
Can
so
be more
cute.
opposite.
I know.
Yeah, and they're just so different.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's maybe what attributed a lot of her anxiety.
I will say though, I felt really bad when she asked him to put his teeth back on, even though we already witnessed how much it hurts him to adjust it. I felt really bad. I felt for him right there. But then she did apologize after everything ended up going well. But what did you guys think of Vinny asking for her hand in marriage at some point, and then the father acting like it's already happened?
I thought that's the part that I cringed a little bit. I'm like, oh, poor Vinny. Poor Ariana must be worse for her. Like getting like, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
But
they did get engaged briefly in season 1, or he offered her a ring.
He was pushing it. Yeah, he took her ring shopping. So remember she stormed out? She was not having it.
It almost feels like they want to forget that we saw that happen, you know? But I like the way that it ended at the end of the day, even though the father was a little embarrassing at that moment. Armenian father comes to the rescue and says, yep, can't wait till you guys have kids, get married, and it just kind of worked out. So.
Yeah, the conversation between the two dads I thought was so cute. You know, it seemed like they barely knew what each other was saying, but they kind of found a common ground with the cooking, and they were laughing, and that was a really cute moment.
Well, there goes to show that, you know, families from different backgrounds can go and love each other based on their kids. And it was nice to see that.
I thought it was really nice of when Vinny did go up to the dad and say, hey, I already thought of you as a son for like a long time.
Yes.
I was like, oh. And if I had a heart, I would have tugged on it, but I recognize that it was an emotional moment. I just, you know, I don't have a heart.
Yeah, I'm not saying, yeah, you don't. You do have a heart. I know you do, somewhere in there. But do you guys think that they're going to get married at some point?
It sounds like it now. Yeah,
so?
She was so against it, and even in that first season, even the second season, remember she would say that she doesn't say I love you to him, and this was a big jump. We haven't seen a lot of her, and now all of a sudden she's agreeing. She's like, all right, where's my ring? I thought, yay!
I thought the same thing.
Do you guys see Ariane and Vinny, or Nikki and Cena more likely sooner?
Ooh.
I say Ariane and Vinny.
Yeah, I probably think so.
Although Cena spoke a little bit on it this week. I'll give you the deets and news and gossip.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, let's get there. But before we get there, is there anything else you want to talk about this episode?
Was there anything else?
I think we covered our bases. Yeah. All right.
I want to see what... I know they had a preview for next week. Something about a phone. I didn't really catch what they were saying.
The preview for next week, but we'll get to that when we talk about predictions.
So let's see that.
Oh, really quick. Natty doesn't like dogs. I knew there was something off about her.
Thank you for mentioning that, because when she said that, I was very upset. How do you know? Do you like dogs?
I love my dog.
All right, there you go. See? So... That has to be.
I know you're a crazy
scripted.
Cat lady, but come on.
I know.
Come on.
Have you seen my Pomeranian? It's amazing.
It's amazing, or she's amazing?
She's amazing.
Okay.
Her name's Wakame. She's a black Pomeranian. She's fluffy and cute. So you guys should go visit her Instagram page.
She has an Instagram page?
Wakame-chan. Yes.
She probably has more followers than we do.
Probably.
No, she doesn't.
Does she have more than 4 followers? Because
Yes.
if she does, then yeah, she does have more followers.
All right. So let's go to some news and gossip.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
I want to hear what you got, girl.
Ooh. Well, this week a fan tweeted to John Cena asking if we would see him propose on this season of Total Divas, and he responded and said, "Keep watching."
Ooh.
Now that might not seem like much, but Cena hasn't given us a whole lot, and that's, you know, better than no.
What do you think of that?
That's the best answer
the whole
ever.
Nikki engagement marriage
He's
thing.
gonna do it. I think she just started pushing it way too soon. You know, he first got divorced in 2012.
Yeah.
So even in that first season when we saw this all kind of start, the catalyst of the are we going to get married? I'm never going to get married. He was still healing from his divorce. I mean, it's only been a few years. I think he's completely changed his mind. I'm sure in another year they'll be planning a wedding or be getting married.
Do you think that he would do it because he wants to see her happy, or because he just will change his mind eventually?
I think he's changing his mind. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was just burned from the first one, and that's totally understandable.
Do you think it has anything to do with what's best for business? Because
that's a good question.
you know, I kind of think that he's such a great company guy that he would kind of do that. I mean, obviously he likes her too.
Right. Right.
I think so. He buys her stuff. that $15,000 purse from last week.
Talk about what kind of a wedding that would be.
I think we need an invitation.
Moly. Oh my God, that would be the best.
We would be wedding crashers to that wedding. It doesn't matter.
I'll take the night in jail or whatever, get hauled out of there.
All right, I'm like, that's fine.
Is that the Total Divas AFTERBUZZ crew?
Worth it.
Crashing the wedding?
Worth it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen soon. A couple more little tidbits. We now know, or there's a lot of speculation that the WrestleMania Divas match will be the Bella Twins in a tag team against AJ Lee and Paige. That AJ and Paige are going to go back to this frenemy thing, and we're going to see all 4 ladies.
The rumor was that, I think today they're in New Jersey, which is AJ's hometown. Not that she lives there, of course, she lives in Chicago, but her, she's backstage.
I love her.
I think she's like married to some guy who lives in
wait
Chicago.
to get her
Colt
back.
Cabana?
Some
Abe
Chicago.
Froman?
Al Bundy? No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's Abe Froman.
I think it is Al
the
Bundy.
Sausage King of Chicago.
And Eva Marie is also at Raw this evening. No word on if we'll actually see her get out and wrestle. She had a photo shoot earlier in the day she was there for, but she is supposedly back on the road with them after she's all healed up, and she will be live hitting the road with them full time starting again this week.
Okay, well, she can come out as
she back apparently.
A referee, commentator. I don't know. I'm just thinking of options.
Well, speaking of AJ though, there was a tweet that she sent to Stephanie.
Yes, we're going to talk about that right now.
Yeah, man, I'm just sorry.
Yeah,
you guys are already talking about it.
I'm glad you're on top of the game.
Well, a lot of it comes back from last week. What was the match? Wasn't it like the Bellas against Paige and Emma?
I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was like
and it was like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then suddenly, and everybody started booing, rightfully so, because I'm thinking, man, this is going to be a cool match for the 3 minutes it might be, you know? But it was even less than that, 30 seconds. Ronda Rousey's fights are less than that.
I mean, we should talk about that. Considering how much they're trying to elevate the Divas division, they're still not giving it enough match time.
That match specifically, I think, was direct like punishment. It was not this week, but the week before. And Brie kind of opened her mouth, and not that she started all this because it was already starting, but she opened her mouth and said, like, we don't get enough time. And then they were given that little match, and then it really blew up. What's the hashtag?
Give Divas a chance.
Yeah, and people are all for it. Some of the Divas have been tweeting it. Tell everybody what AJ Lee said.
Okay,
that girl can't keep her little tiny mouth closed either.
Well, in a quick summary, basically Stephanie McMahon gave a shout out to Patricia Arquette because Patricia Arquette won for Best Supporting Actress for the Oscar in Boyhood. And she basically said she wants equal pay and equal rights. It's time for women to step up and all that good stuff. And Stephanie McMahon said, yeah. And AJ Lee was like, you are a little hypocrite. Pretty much that's what she was saying.
Is it really Stephanie's fault, though? I'm not blaming her entirely. I mean, I'm sure she has a lot of say in that company.
I think Stephanie the thing McMahon. Is, as Stephanie McMahon, in the position that she is in, she can represent, and she has the biggest voice in the female division. You know what I mean?
Because at the same time, anybody who watches NXT and sees that, I think that once Triple H kind of does take charge, along with Stephanie, I think the Divas are going to get a big chance. I think it all goes back to Vince and his vision of what the Divas are.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with.
The fans, now there has been support for this movement, but do the fans as a majority, do they want to see more of the Divas?
I think
that's something I know that I do, but I'm not certain that everyone does.
If you watch an NXT match with the Divas, they're so good.
They stole the show at the last special.
Yes, and when you watch even like the UFC fight with Ronda Rousey, like this past Sunday, that they're headlining a pay-per-view. I mean, I would love for the WWE to like take a look at that and see.
I agree. I mean, for example, I think that show at Staples Center this past Saturday sold, I think, $2.7 million at the gate. And not only was the main event 2 women, but the co-main event was 2 women. So I'm not saying that women's will change everything, but there is somewhat of a demand. And the thing about wrestling is they're so micromanage, or you can create a character that everybody can get behind. Why not do it?
True.
That's the good thing about wrestling, that it is scripted, so you can script it in that way.
Well, do you guys think the Divas division right now is a lot stronger, right, than it has been in several years?
I think so too, and I think I like the fact that they're cutting off them being valets, or they're kind of cutting them off as being like love interests. You know, they can stand on their own finally for the most part.
I respectfully disagree. I don't think it's stronger, but I think the Divas themselves are stronger. The division, no, because of what we saw last week, but the Divas themselves can go. Brie can go, Nikki can go, AJ can go, Paige, they all can go.
Foxy, it depends who. I would say it depends who. I mean, we have Summer Rae, we have Rosa. There's some people that are still like just trickling and hanging out.
Exactly, especially with these new crop of NXT divas that they all can go.
Those can go.
Yeah,
they can go.
So I think the divas themselves are a lot better. Not at the level of the Trish and the Ivory and the Molly Holly, but they can get there with the proper guidance. And that just calls back to Vince.
I would love to see actually at least 2 Divas divisions. This is my dream, to have a tag team division for Divas, because that would be great to see that too, and then also the singles. But I was gonna say what AJ mentioned. I can't. There, it's not opening up. Basically, I'm trying to. Okay, so basically AJ called her out. My thing is not working. So that was the big news.
But Stephanie tweeted back.
She did.
She did, and she tweeted back like very like PC.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, do it.
Sorry.
Tell us what it is.
Okay, so AJ said, Your female wrestlers have record-selling merchandise and have starred in the highest-rated segments of the show several times, and yet they receive a fraction of the wages and screen time of the majority of the male roster. Hashtag use your voice. That's what AJ said.
Wow, and she's mad about the money. That's one thing that I hadn't really heard be a part of the discussion yet. Are they really making that much less than the boys?
I think
they
so.
must be.
I mean, as we
she's got to be the top dollar of all of them.
Yeah.
And if she says that, then it must be true.
I don't have the response from Stephanie, but I know that it took her a while, and she did respond in a very PC manner.
And apparently behind the scenes,
for like, thank you for voicing your opinion and things like that.
Blazingly angry that AJ Lee would call her out like that.
Some people are actually speculating that this might be just some work for WrestleMania. And the idea of AJ coming back and maybe versus Stephanie, that's a big shot.
I think if AJ at some point leaves the company permanently, maybe not, maybe she'll start a family soon. I think they just might as well go there, start, end with a bang, go to that, reference those, people that don't get referenced anymore, like the CM Punk, and just go there.
They should.
We
would love to see that.
Like, I think she did like a pipe bombshell like a year ago. Remember that?
The pipe bomb
on the Raw. And she just called out all the divas.
Yeah.
Because she has the ability to go there the same way her husband does, and the tweet. So I think they should just go there.
Yeah.
If she's going to be with the company a little bit more, leave it. But if she's not, just go all out. Just go all out.
I thought when this whole thing started that WWE was behind it, that it was like a storyline because all the divas were tweeting with the hashtag, and I thought, oh, this is manufactured. This is something we're going to see on the storyline for Total Divas next season or whatever. But it really seems like this is a grassroots effort to get the divas some more time on screen. And it's always so touchy when you're like biting the hand that feeds you and insulting your boss. And AJ Lee, of course, is in the position to do that, and she should. She should.
She has
the other ladies
ability.
Maybe.
I mean, they all should.
There would be
repercussions,
level, but AJ Lee, what are they going to do to her if they were going to do something to her?
But Stephanie McMahon definitely has the position, and she has the level to be that voice. So I understand why AJ reached out to her. And that being said, let's move on to some predictions.
Oh, well, there will be a diva in the Hall of Fame. One more little thing.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just one more little news and gossip. Tonight's inductee being announced is probably diva Alundra Blaze, who many know from WCW, Medusa. She threw a WWE belt in the trash can. Remember, so it's a little controversial, but we're thinking that tonight she will be announced as an inductee. So it's a diva.
Long overdue.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah.
Long overdue.
All right.
And now we may move on to predictions.
Predictions. Okay, so that being said, next week is the 2-hour season finale. They're basically clunking up 2 episodes into one. Episode 19 called Indecent Exposure, where the synopsis, the Bellas are startled by a nude pic of their brother. Natty meets Grumpy Cat. And episode 20, the New Divas Champion, where the synopsis is, the Bellas think about signing on for another 3 years in the ring.
3 more years, wow.
Yeah, but 3 years go by fast.
Yeah.
It really does. So that being said, I think we're gonna see Nikki's reign, the beginning of it, or the accumulation to it. So
I hope they explain why Bree's all of a sudden a bad guy after being a bad girl after being a Nikki slave for 30 days.
Yeah, that was one thing I didn't enjoy, was that they kind of left that gap and was like, all right, well, she was her assistant for 30 days, and now
they're cool.
They're cool.
I hope they at least reference that in Total Divas.
They should.
Keeping my fingers crossed.
Yes.
I was all sorts. I thought that her being fired was her trying to go get knocked up, and that we were going to see that on Total Divas, and now the season's over, and I was so wrong.
I'm glad she's not knocked up just yet. I really enjoy her. And just pointing out that I know that this episode had barely any Bellas. It was like maybe the first time ever in all 3 seasons that we've seen them not being a center of a storyline.
Maybe that's what was missing for me.
Maybe.
I need me some Bellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously they wanted you to know that they're still there. They showed them in their little conversation with Paige. That was very deliberate. Like, don't worry, guys. We're not cutting the Bellas. They're still around. You're still going to see them.
Yeah.
So maybe then the next 2-hour finale will be very Bella-centric.
Probably. I mean, the New Divas champ. Natty meets Grumpy Cat. Okay. That's a weird storyline to lead by. And then apparently the Bellas see a nude picture of their brother. That's not that bad. I mean, shit happens. Excuse me.
It's weird.
I know.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, what I'm more interested in is that preview made it look like he retaliated in some way against Nikki by posting something. So
he seems like the type.
I know, right?
He's not exactly. He has a big old mouth. He's you know, but
he's a little jealous. I think.
Like the new Vinny. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Well, that completes our after show for this week. Tune in next week for a lot more. And in the meantime, continue #ABTV Divas. Questions, comments, talk about the AJ Stephanie stuff. And in the meantime, you can follow my lovely co-host. Where at?
Everybody, please tweet me your ideas for finale. What should we do next week? Should we do something crazy? Should we get our champs on? What should we do to celebrate this big finale? Tweet me at Christy Reports.
And you can just find me at G Hermoza. I have this thing on where every time I'm on a wrestling show, I'm like a wrestling encyclopedia. So just try to stump me. #StumpGeorge.
Ooh,
it's true.
I like that.
#StumpGeorge because he knows everything. It's a little creepy. With his
a lot of creepy.
4 Instagram followers. That being said, you can also follow me at Kaori, is KAORIOUS. Follow the whole entire team here at AfterBuzz TV. And don't forget, subscribe, comment, and rate. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Thumbs up.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.